John was working in his science lab, got blasted by gamma rays. Now he's Smash Trivia John, always smashing. He's friends with Ruffalo, in love with Aslan, and also some arrow weaving. John's here saying, hello my gamma friends, welcome to the show, the Gamma Analysis Podcast.
And Hulk. Smash.
Hello, my Gamma friends. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies, TV shows. I also do random other geeky films. Hope you enjoy. Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening, please do something for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. Now let's smash right into this episode. Today's episode is a review of the Incredible Hulk 90s animated show, episodes 5 and 6, titled Innocent Blood and Man to Man, Beast to Beast. He's with my friend and Brayden. How you doing, Brayden?
I'm doing okay. I'm excited to talk about these two episodes.
All right. I had a lot of fun with these two episodes. I think I like them both for or very different reasons. Like the first of the two, I think there's so many cool things they do in it. The second of the two, I love because of how much soft Hulk moments there is and how much we get to see him being happy and interacting with something like a dog. I think that was really fun.
Mm-hmm. I always enjoyed both episodes. The Ghost Rider episode was like the most rerun episode of The Incredible Hulk. Like I remember all the time on like JetX or even like other stuff where they constantly kept showing the Ghost Rider episode over and over and over, and I always rewatched it the most because it was like kind of like a great adaptation of Danny Ketch Ghost Rider because the way he looks. He has the Danny Ketch's bike and the spikes. So I was kind of like, well, that has to be Danny Ketch, I'm assuming. And with the Sasquatch episode, Sasquatch is always kind of like a unofficial member of the Hulk family in a way, because he goes from being a Hulk villain to becoming a friend in the future of the comics. And I always felt he was so underrated. I do think the MCU will adapt him one day soon, or like I don't know where, because he is kind of just a Canadian version of the Hulk. And yeah, I kind of agree. I have similar reasons too, where like I think the Incredible Hulk show, they didn't figure out their pacing until these two episodes of like, we have to do this for Bruce, this for Hulk, do this for the guest characters, and make sure it works overall. And I think the Sasquatch episode is a little bit better than the Ghost Rider episode because of those softer moments, but they did kind of take a break from the formula of like, thank God he's not being framed over and over for things he didn't do. Yeah. And thank God the human civilians have some fucking common sense and they learn, okay, the Hulk's not the problem. It's a misunderstanding. That they actually talk it out.
Which, there's something in the Ghost Rider episode though that I'm so curious about if this is gonna keep on going forward. So we had Ghost Rider use the penance stare on Glenn Talbot and made him feel guilty for or what he's done to the Hulk, and showed Glenn that the Hulk is not the bad guy. I really hope they continue that forward and don't just like forget about it in episodes to come.
If I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember because it's been some time since I've seen the show as a kid, but I do remember Talbot becoming less annoying. So I do think something about the Ghost Rider episode does carry over because I think they realized, I think they did realize, because like Talbot in most things, especially in the comics, he goes from being like, oh, I love following Jonathan but Ross, I hate the Hulk, I'll do whatever I can to kill him, and then he does change his mind. I do think, I swear I remember Talbot becoming less of a dick later on, so I do think this does carry over. hopefully we'll see
That's good.
as we watch the show if they do that.
Uh,
Also, one thing I did like, I like the fact they had a Ghost Rider, Doc Samson Hulk fight, but they had it
yeah.
make sense where they're like, no, they're trying to
Hmm.
help Hulk stay alive, and they have to keep his heart
Oh
pumping
yeah.
to have the Trent get out of the system, which I really like. I like the fact they were like, no, we're trying, because it's actually it's in so many different comic books too, where they're like, we're fighting the Hulk because we're trying to save him, we're not trying to hurt him, and it's a great way to force
Yeah.
the fight to happen, but not have it to be like, oh, this character just hates it for no reason. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Oh yeah. And like I think it's really cool old how they did that and it had and they kind of had the gaslight Hulk to
Yeah,
keep him alive. I thought that was really interesting. And like a when Ghost Rider forces Hulk to uh, remember all the hurt that people have done to him in order to keep him alive. I thought that was really interesting. And like and just like the way that Ghost Rider's powers are, all look was really cool looking,
mhm,
and
yeah,
I do hope that in the future or of this show, there's there maybe is like another appearance from Ghost Rider. I don't know, but that would be really cool. And
mhm,
like, but also like just in general, I would love to see Hulk and Ghost Rider together again in
mhm,
something. We've never gotten to see that in live action. I think it'd be
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool to see in live action.
Yeah, I do think if not Doomsday, maybe Secret Wars. Like that'd be cool
Yeah.
if to Secret Wars see like a Ghost Rider or two with a Hulk during some
Hmm.
battles, like because that would be a fun visual, especially like
Oh yeah.
Ghost Rider is kind of this is the thing with Ghost Rider. Everyone knows what he looks like. They've seen the image of him with a flaming skull on a bike, and he's also one of the inspirations for Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. But I
Mhm.
don't think anyone's ever actually like they don't like people know the Nick Cage films. People know Robbie Reyes from Agents of Shield. I don't think people actually know his story because he's
Mhm.
kind of like C-list famous, so to speak. He's not as A-list like Spider-Man, but he's almost super well known. But he definitely needs to shine more in the current MCU, or how even in like I would love to see Ghost Rider appear in like in a new Marvel show or cartoon
Yeah.
in the near future.
Oh yeah.
Or even if they were like, oh, let's do
Put
another
him,
Ghost Rider, let's do a Ghost Rider show animated for like Disney
put
Plus.
him in an episode of X-Men 97.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
And with the Man to Man, Beast to Beast episode, I really liked how they did Sasquatch and
Yeah.
how I mean, because this thing, when it comes to similar to like the Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk TV show and then some of the comic books, you every every time there's an attempt to cure or destroy the Hulk, it doesn't go well. And I like the fact they were also kind of like, oh no, it's not even Bruce's fault. Sasquatch's desperation, Walter's desperation to cure himself,
Mhm.
nearly endangered everything and nearly killed the both of them. And then,
Yeah.
I actually like the fact, even though Kid Sidekick Taylor, I thought was actually like a really sweet part of the episode, especially when like he and the dog don't hate the Hulk. They know something's wrong,
Mhm.
and I think a very sweet moment that works because of Clancy Brown's voice acting is when Sasquatch is like, "Oh my God, I nearly hit a kid. I nearly hurt a kid. What the hell?" It's
Oh yeah.
like he actually feels so bad and he just leaves and he doesn't even
It's
blame the Hulk for that. He's kind of like, "Oh, it's my fault. I'm sorry." He just
it's
goes off and then
it's such a great performance from Clancy Brown.
mm,
On like on you really feel that ocean in him as he leaves. And he hates he's done this.
yeah, yeah,
Which is really cool.
and I remember I'm trying to remember because I think he does come back because I swear to God I remember Sasquatch fighting Hulk again through because he has to work some stuff out because he's kind of a little bit irritated. And he has some resentment towards Bruce and the Hulk, but he does realize he recognizes. I like the fact that because with Bruce, it's obvious that what happened to him was an accident. While with Walter, what happened to him was on purpose. Especially when Bruce is like, "You did this to yourself on purpose as a as a like you test this on yourself It's like, why? He says, I just assumed I would cure myself like that. I'm like, no, that's not like this is you leaped so far ahead into a dangerous territory. This is, and then of course we find out the consequence of this is permanent. That's why he was trying to rush curing himself. And so I remember the comics too. I don't think he changes that much back into a human that often. If I remember correctly, he's stuck being a furball for most of it, similar to Beast from
Also,
X-Men. So yeah, so again, I really like what did with Sasquatch, and I liked how Shield comes back at the end of the Sasquatch
mhm.
episode. I was like, oh yeah, because it's been some time since we last saw them. I'm like, oh, it's a good reminder that they're also pursuing Bruce separate from Nick Fury. I mean, separate from
Mhm.
Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I one big thing with both these episodes that I really appreciate that I that in contrast to the 70s live action show, is the fact that we get human characters or understanding that Hulk is a hero,
Mhm.
and because like in that the 70s is show, like I always get so pissed off about the fact that that everybody keeps considering Hulk the bad guy, even though he's keeps saving people. Oh, and so I appreciate with this that they're not going that route. They're being like everybody he meets by the end of the episode, they realize he's a good guy. I think that's very nice. And like also like this is not and also comparing this to a lot of modern superhero movies is lately over the past like 10 years or so happily recently it's gotten better, but there's been a lot of superhero movies where you only see the superhero fight, you never see the superhero save
Yeah,
people.
that's been an editing issue and some stuff. Yeah.
And so now because of that, whenever I actually see characters taking the time to stop fighting and save someone, that I always appreciate seeing that, because that's such a big part of what being a superhero is. That it sucks that a lot of modern superhero movies forget about that aspect.
Mm. Yeah. It's one of those things where you know, like say what you will about the early 2000s comic movies. Like there are certain like limitations, certain bad mindsets from like certain producers who hate the comics. But because there was a limitation with the CGI and certain aspects of technology, they were focused on the practicality of like, let's cut the fight scene down to a certain level of time and let's prioritize the save a bit more in the editing. So that's I think that's where certain things became the issue in the 2010s and the last couple of years where they're kind of like, oh, we gotta make sure this big epic superhero fight is like 10 to 15 minutes long. Cut the moments of them saving civilians because it doesn't matter as long as they take down the bad
Yeah,
guy, they save the world or something.
because as sadly there's a lot of superhero fans who just want big action.
Yeah, I think it depends on whether the character or maybe even B maybe just audience expectations because it's kind
Mm.
of like with Man of Steel. I like parts of that film. There are some issues I have with it, but for the most part, it's a good science fiction superhero movie. I don't think it's a great Superman movie if it doesn't get certain things right. But whenever people are like, "Why is there so much overblown action in Man of Steel?" I'm like, "What's the response to Superman Returns, which came out in 2006?" And Superman Returns, the biggest complaint people have with that movie was there's no action. They're like, there's him saving the plane, and there's no good action in that movie, and they thought it was just so boring. So Warner Brothers, in when they looked at the backlash to Superman Returns, their immediate request to Zack Snyder and the other people involved was, can you please make sure the fight scenes are great and big and loud? And that's what led to
Hmm.
moments like in the Metropolis scene where he's so busy fighting Zod, he doesn't get the chance to save people from the fucking falling buildings and all this other crazy shit that's happening. So like that's what
So
led to issues like that.
it really sucks because like I feel like when you just reduce them down to superheroes down to just the as fighting and never saving, that's where you really get the feeling of them being super cops instead of actually people who care about others.
Mhm. Well, yeah, that's the thing. It depends on like, because I mean, it's one of those things where like I think maybe in these past few years they've been kind of self-correcting, or even like now with
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man, like even
absolutely.
like because even like with Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is about to come out in a couple of weeks, in a lot of the trailers and even some clips, they really do show Peter like saving people, or even when he's fighting some of the bad guys, he's just kicking them to the side. He's trying his hardest to de-escalate what's happening.
Mhm.
So I like the fact there is course correction, but it still feels organic to the story. It doesn't feel like
Mhm.
an overt
Oh yeah,
apology or something. Yeah.
yeah. Like yeah, they've definitely been doing better in recent years with that. Like even tiny as small as in Superman, and when he
Yeah.
saves the squirrel,
Mhm.
I that is such a important little thing, and it's crazy the test audiences hated that.
Yeah. I think, I mean, that's a whole other thing. I guess because like so many people, and maybe it has to do with their own biases or like maybe how they would react to emergencies. They prioritize human life more than animals. Not like it necessarily.
Hmm.
Oh, I hate animals type thing, but
Yeah,
like people are used to saving like dogs and cats. I remember there was even some people with Superman 2025 when there's an old lady that leaves with a turtle in a box, and it's like, why are you taking the turtle? And I'm like, that's her pet. I'm like, what the? Why wouldn't she take the turtle? I'm like, I'm like, wait
yeah,
a minute. Would you only save the dogs and the cats and fuck every other animal? Like, I don't think people are. I don't
same.
think. Yeah, I don't think people mean anything
Hmm.
terrible. But when you really break it down, you're kind of like, it's a, it's a life. Yes, if you're a pet owner, you would take the pet. Never mind. Never mind. But like, it's just one of those things where like, or even like, uh, like when it comes to, there is like some funny stuff though. I remember like there were some people during like superhero movies or even action scenes. They're kind of like, oh, don't save the cops and the firefighters. They're meant to die. I'm like, well, hold on. If they're a hero, they're trying to save everyone. You fucking. So I'm like, hold on. That you're saying something else about society with that statement.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm with this some stuff I was thinking about out earlier today with this '90s talk show. So obviously this show didn't last long,
Mhm.
and it only got 2 seasons. I kind of wonder if the big reason behind that is because they released it on Sundays. Is
Yeah,
like that. I feel like really hurt the show a lot because kids aren't getting. I don't know what time I'm of day to actually release. Probably the morning, but if it's in the evening,
Mhm.
kids aren't getting the act getting the to be the one with the remote for the TV. If it's in the morning, particularly like back in the '90s, is I'm pretty sure the vast majority of Americans were going to churches
yeah,
is on Sundays.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah,
you really would be screwing over any show by having it air Sunday morning.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing that's like such a, because the Saturday morning block ruled the 90s. The amount of cartoons and shows that were on Saturday mornings that got millions and millions and millions of views by different households like shaped a lot of pop culture. By the late 2000s, the idea of the Saturday morning block kind of died. But before that, everyone knew, even parents knew Saturday morning was for the kids. Saturday morning was for
Mm-hmm.
everything. I think unfortunately, because with Incredible Hulk, they kind of, because it came out in '96, and you already had Spider Man, you already had Batman the animated series, Superman the animated series, you had X Men, and on top of that, you have other cartoons like Animaniacs, like all this other stuff that
Mm-hmm.
was taking over Saturday. I think they were kind of like, well, shit, I guess you have to put it on Sundays, not even thinking that the kids would be zoned out, or like they're just so used to doing everything on Saturdays, which is funny because now whenever they do replay reruns of the animated Incredible Hulk, they only play on Saturdays. So I think they kind of like realized their mistakes years later. But I get what you mean. Like I
Yeah.
do think it is kind of a mistake because it is kind of funny how the Incredible Hulk is kind of a like a Marvel Spotlight type comic show for all the other characters who can't have their own show, like
Mm.
Ghost Rider, like Sasquatch. They had crossovers with Iron Man already in season one. It is insane how they put it on a Sunday and not Saturday. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe they needed
It,
to
it's
schedule something else. I don't know, but like
it's
it's
weird to if you're like if you're going you're choosing what shows to air on Saturday and then what to push to Sunday. It's weird to push Hulk to be the other one on Sunday when like and at this point the 70s show had already aired, so they knew that Hulk was a global phenomenon on and you should have wanted to do everything in your power to recreate that success.
I also another thing, Marvel animation was going through a weird time in the nineties because I also do wonder because I know the Hulk live action movie began development in the mid '90s, and these cartoon shows had to be approved by the movie executives first. Like, but the Spider-Man animated show, not most people didn't find out about this until years later. One of the reasons why they couldn't use Sandman in this '90s Spider-Man cartoon is because a movie producer told them he's going to be in our Spider-Man movie. He can't be in this cartoon. So that's why Sandman was removed from. Like, there was all these weird rules and regulations. So with
So
the Incredible
dumb.
Hulk cartoon, yeah, because with the Incredible Hulk cartoon, a part of me, when they were using certain, like I think that's one of the reasons why, if you notice, they kept prioritizing non-Hulk characters like Ghost Rider and Iron Man showing up because they were kind of like, we need to have Hulk away from some of the Hulk films in the advance. They end up using them for the damn movie. And then I remember, I think it was Jonathan Hensley, his Hulk script that he wrote back in like 98, 99. He had nothing but original characters. The only comic book character was Bruce, and his entire script had original characters, even the villains he was fighting, which one of them included like a Buckman and all this other stuff. So I think even he and some other people were kind of like, well, I don't want to deprive the cartoon of characters they can't use. Let me just use an original movie villain to give them uh, freedom in the cartoon. So like,
Yeah.
I do wonder if the whole cartoon was affected by some type of weird
I could see that,
rules behind the scenes.
but also I feel like there was that even though the 70s show was such a big success,
Mhm.
one of the big things that it was missing that
Yeah,
I think that a lot of Hulk fans and Marvel fans would have wanted is the rest of the Marvel universe, and so when it came to making Hulk cartoons after that, they probably were like, let's jam pack this with as many of other characters as we can since we couldn't do that before, or now we have a chance,
yeah.
and Marvel fans will probably like that. I think that's probably part of where that came from as well. Also, so I don't know if this is actually true. Um, but I was looking at because it's just like some random person on his list on IMDb, but I was looking at this list someone made of the '90s Marvel animated universe or in chronological order,
Yeah,
and apparently, even though this came out in '96, the vast majority are a lot vast majority, if not all of it, happened happened in the timeline years prior
yeah. The only reason
to
why some
that.
people, yeah. The only reason why some people say that is because there's a lot of connections, right, in this Marvel, in the '90s Marvel animated universe,
Mhm.
and by the time Spider-Man and the X-Men interact with certain characters, a lot of people said that they're treating them like they're well-known quantities. Like the mutants are already a big known thing at the start of the X-Men show, And then in the Fantastic Four show, you have like Silver Surfer, Thanos, Ghost Rider, Galactus, Magneto, and all this other stuff in it. Which and that came out in '94. So some people are kind of like, okay, the only way this makes logical sense without it causing any continuity issues is if the Incredible Hulk was the first thing, then maybe Spider Man, then X Men, Fantastic Four. Because there are some people who are like, there are moments where, based off what they're saying, they haven't met certain people yet. That's why some people form the timeline a certain way. And then
Yeah.
I remember with X Men '97, back in season one, when certain character the villains appeared, like the like '90s Doom and '90s Zemo from the Avengers, from the failed Avengers cartoon, and people were like, "This is really cool. This can only happen because it's the year '97." Right, the idea of these villains all talking to one another, because some of the other stuff you're watching, you wouldn't even think, because like Doom, as we know, Doom appears in the Incredible Hulk cartoon, right? But if I remember correctly, he's fresh. Like he just became Doom per se. While the Fantastic Four cartoon, they were
Interesting.
kind of like acting as if he was already a known quantity. So like, it's one of those things where I think they were so maybe paranoid that like we need to
Mhm.
really inform these kids of these characters. Let's recap them
Makes
and
sense.
act like they're new, and that inadvertently made Incredible Hulk a prequel.
It's yeah. The reason I was like wondering about it is because like I knew that that when airing the Incredible Hulk show, went past the time that the X Men and show
Yeah,
was coming out. So I was like, that's it. I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. Could like some of the Incredible Hulk show be taking place at the same time as X Men '97? And so I looked it up. I was like, oh, it is all in the past. I don't think there's anything in the universe of the shows even that went on after X Men ended that are at that point in the timeline. I guess.
yeah. Because I trying to remember, because even when Iron Man and Rhodey are in that one episode of Incredible Hulk, a few episodes back, I'm trying to remember because in the Iron Man show, he's already fully formed after the opening. So I'm trying to remember, like, because Iron Man was also kind of loose too, where he was just in his own little bubble for the most part, but he would appear in other stuff. So, I mean, I guess the logic could be that Bruce and Iron Man are both in like year one of their adventures, while the X Men and Spider Man are in like year 3 or 4. Because even in the Spider Man cartoon, they had his origin years prior. They skip it to where he's an older man, out of high school, in college, type thing. So there's some people were kind of like, huh, they're deliberately going past some stuff. So
Mhm.
I do wonder if it was
Also,
intentional or
yeah,
just something they fell into by accident.
side I find I really funny though from this like list of the shows in chronological order. So it obviously cut between like parts of seasons
Yeah,
because obviously with whole seasons of shows you're bound to have overlap and so apparently the Spider-Man and '90s show and the Spider-Man Unlimited 90s show, though you would think that Spider-Man Unlimited would take place after the Spider-Man show did, apparently it's like in the middle of the normal Spider-Man show,
yeah, yeah. It's
which
one of those
is
things.
weird as hell.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like, because with Spider-Man Unlimited, there's like a lot of weird circumstances behind the scenes that led to them being like, let's create a Spider-Man show. Peter Parker is on another Earth with a different suit, and let's do this to revamp him, because they wanted to avoid rights issues and conflicts with the Spider-Man movie that was going to be in development at the time. But because have you ever seen Spider-Man Unlimited?
No, I have not.
It's a fun, crazy show, and based off of the because basically he has to deal with the space shuttle thing, as in and I remember John Jameson, the astronaut son of Jonah, he's also involved in the pilot. Based off when that happens, I'm like, wait, is this season 2 or 3? And based off of some other stuff that happens in the main Spider-Man show because of like Secret Wars, multiverse stuff. I'm like, yeah, this has to be before because
Mm.
there's a certain level of experience with Peter that's different. That's like, you mean like there's something about it where I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh.
he would just ask Madam Web to pull his ass out of there. Why are you acting? And I'm like, wait a minute, did he not meet her yet? And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I'm like, like Spider-Man Unlimited is like a weird thing where it feels like a reboot and a sequel, and then you realize in the chronological aspect of the time, you're like, it's somehow before. Like, never mind. That's why if they
Yeah,
ever do,
honest, if they were gonna say in another universe, Earth, and have a different suit, they should have just said it's just not connected.
yeah, that's the thing. I think they were just so like, because it literally shows him leaving New York in the pilot, like, oh my god, going into space, and I'm like, I have to go to Counter Earth, which is a thing for the comics, and there's another Vulture, and there's all these like different new bad guys, and a lot of people kind of like, this is cool, this is a cool idea. One problem, why did you make it like this? You could just made it about Miguel O'Hara in the future, or make it to where it's literally just another universe that appears in, but it,
Wow.
it's 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 one of those things where I think someone at Fox insisted it had to be Peter Parker from New York of the same universe on another alien planet, and I'm like, okay. And it was also meant to be like an answer to the Batman Beyond cartoon with Terry McGinnis in the future, but there was like, but instead of taking Peter Parker to the future, we just take Peter Parker to another Earth, and I'm like, and like he's stuck there for a while, he can't leave. And I'm like, okay. And then that's another thing because even the have you seen the '90s Spider-Man cartoon?
No, I have not.
So have you seen the anime? Oh, so I don't want to.
I have heard about it.
Okay, so I don't want to spoil it too much. But basically, so Avi Arad, who was like the longest running president of Marvel before his job went to Kevin Feige, the Marvel animated shows were killing it. They were awesome on Fox Kids.
Mm.
They're doing a great job. Avi Arad had a meeting with the president of Fox Kids at the time. I forget her name. Something happened. He got arrogant. Avi Ross said the wrong thing, and that's when she went cancel the Marvel deal and cancel all the Marvel animated shows. So every Marvel animated show at the '90s ended on a cliffhanger because he opened his mouth and said the wrong thing. No one knows what the hell he said, but basically, with the '90s Spider-Man show, the writers were like, "Well, hey, we're getting canceled because fucking Avi fucked up. He didn't renew the deal. We got to wrap things up in a sweet way." And they the Marvel animated universe did a version of Secret Wars in the Spider-Man cartoon,
Mm.
and then they were like, "We're gonna do a sequel called Spider Wars." And the Spider Wars cartoon event became the inspiration for the 2014 Spider Verse book, written by Dan Slott, which then became the inspiration for the films of Miles and No Way Home. So if it wasn't for the animated universe cartoon event of Peter Parker teaming up with other Peter Parkers from other universes,
Mhm.
none of the Spider Verse things wouldn't have happened. And they did a very like sweet fourth wall breaking thing. Stanley's wife is the voice of Madam Web in the Spider-Man cartoon. And it's like, Peter Parker, come here. We have to deal with the multiverse and Secret Wars. Come here, child. We have to do this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like and then it leads to a bunch of crazy consequences. And then there's even like some other stuff too. There's one thing that kind of became a famous GIF. You might have seen it. It shows Spider-Man screaming "No!" and then he reaches his hand into a puff of smoke, and it's of MJ dying because basically there was some type of rights issues, and there was a guy get rid of MJ. So MJ is ready to be a clone that dies in front of him, and the real MJ is away off screen. And the writers revealed we were going to have Peter Parker go back in time to save MJ and bring her back to the present and then do all the stuff. And then that's why in X-Men 97, when Peter Parker shows up and he's with MJ, somebody asked the Spider-Man writers, what do you think happened? I was like, isn't it obvious? He saved her off screen. Shut the fuck up. I'm like, he's safe because eventually they were kind of like the cancellation of the Fox Kids shows fucked a lot of this universe.
Mhm.
So they had to wrap
Yeah.
things however they could. And then but basically, the way in my personal opinion, the Madam Web and Peter Parker reset continuity
Mhm.
off screen into X Men
Yeah,
'97.
it's funny. It's funny. Before X-Men '97 came out, I remember hearing. I never actually read this, but I remember hearing there was actually like a comic continuation of this universe, and that comic ended with this universe just being destroyed.
Yeah, but then when the X Men '97 show was announced, they're kind of like, well, I guess it's back now. I guess
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, I guess it's like that comic continuation was just not canon anymore.
yeah,
Because of X-Men 97. And yeah, I'm very curious though. With like the success that the X-Men 97 has gotten,
yeah.
why they haven't announced bringing back any of the other shows from the 90s.
I think they're going to work on it, but they probably have to change the title. Like I know for a fact that because of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, they have a deal with Marvel and Sony of one Spider-Man cartoon at a time, right? But Disney and Marvel and Sony pretty much said we've been talking to them about doing a Spider-Man '98 show. I think this is what they're going to do if they're smart. This is what I would do. You announce Avengers '98, and Avengers '98 is about Incredible Hulk, Peter Parker, and maybe the Fantastic Four doing stuff in New York together. You just have them doing their own little things. You have crossovers of X Men, the X Men show at the time that's still going, and then you address certain elements in the Marvel animated universe. I think that's the only way you could do it. I think if you announce Avengers
Yeah,
'98, you could fix, you can revive the four Hulk as Peter Parker at the same time, and then you can even do your own version of like, oh, what if Miles Morales was in the '90s animated universe? What would he look like? What would his suit look
yeah.
like? Yeah, you know, stuff like that.
You
Or
know, I feel like I know Marvel seems to be allergic to doing anything like this, but I feel like something would be really smart to do is have multiple of these revivals happening at the same time, and then having just like the Arrowverse did crossovers or each season where or like there'll be one episode of each show that having them all air at the same time, so you can have the crossover happening where you watch one episode of X-Men 97, then it continues on in this maybe a Avengers 98 or like a Incredible Hulk 98 or a Spider-Man 98 a show. And like I feel like it would be a side that fans would love. I for some reason Marvel seems to be allergic to doing something like that because they don't like the idea of having shows air at the same time. But I feel like doing something like this would actually be like really beneficial because you get a lot of cross promotion and get like I think you get more viewership doing this.
I think they're gonna build to that. I know for a fact that when it comes to Marvel animation, their deal with Sony. Spider-Man, they can use Spider-Man in any Marvel cartoon, but it must be under 30 minutes.
Mhm.
If it's over 30 minutes, Sony must be involved with the property on their streaming service with
Mhm.
Amazon or whatever, which is one of the reasons why Spider-Man Noir is constantly like 40 something minutes. Because if it was under 40 minutes, it would be on Disney Plus, right under
Mhm.
30 minutes. So I do think I don't know when, maybe next year or two, because obviously they need time to work on the art and
Mhm.
get voice actors together. If they do ever announce another Marvel animated show connected to the '90s universe, if it's not Spider-Man, it should be Incredible Hulk and the Fantastic Four. Or hell, you do they do this in the comics too. There's a moment in the Fantastic Four comic books where they swap, where it's Joe Fixit, Grey Hulk, it's Ghost Rider in place of Johnny Storm, it's Wolverine in place of somebody, and then I know sometimes She Hulk is on the
Mhm.
Fantastic Four team. So like, if they announce '90s Fantastic Four has returned with the other Marvel characters, it would be kind of funny for a
Yeah,
little
that'd
bit.
be fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
I
I
think
def
that would be funny, but I think it would piss off a lot of people. Oh, they're like, well, we're finally getting a Fantastic Four show. Doesn't have any of the Fantastic Four characters. Oh, I don't think I think like if we were to get like a continuation of the Hulk show, though, since the second season of this is subtitled The Incredible Hulk and She-Hulk, and the Sensational She-Hulk, I think you should just actually like call a continuation of this that is the Incredible Hulk and Sensational She-Hulk. And like maybe you include a 98 in there but or you could just call it that, to be honest, and leave the 98 out since they're, even though this show was subtitled that in the second season, there's never actually been officially a show that's been called that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I think they're going to definitely. I think they're thinking about it because there is an appetite for more, especially after X-Men 97 and Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. They want more. I think we can all agree. Like,
Oh
say what
yeah.
you will about when the times when Marvel, DC piss off people with their film division. When they have awesome cartoon shows, fans are happy for that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
Oh
because
yeah.
there's a lot less issues. You don't have to worry about scheduling issues with a famous actor showing up. You don't have to worry about
Mhm.
this is this. You don't have to worry about a certain CGI stuff. There are ways to be more comic booky
Mhm.
with less shame and more characters appearance and keep it
Yeah.
focused in the plot. So,
Oh yeah.
in a lot of ways, Marvel and DC animation is kind of a bit more fluid for crossovers and for comic book expansion. I do think, we're gonna see the Incredible Hulk and maybe some other aspects of this universe come back sooner. Especially when, like, in X-Men 97, they had Steve show up. You had T'Chaka, you had
Mhm.
Iron Man, you had Spider-Man, Daredevil, Doctor Strange make appearances, and so
Mhm.
many people, even X-Men fans, were like, "Oh my God, they're here!" Like, they were
Mhm.
deeply excited by that. So I think a show or even like a Disney Plus special presentation of some
Mhm.
kind with the other characters just doing stuff
Yeah.
could work if done right.
Oh yeah. I do think there really needs to be something where it is a legit crossover event where it's across multiple shows, so it because and not just having other characters pop up in a show, but having an actual crossover that's like multiple parts between multiple shows. I think would be really good for them to be able to get a lot of popularity,
Yeah.
because like the Arrowverse crossovers were massively popular.
Well, yeah, even people who didn't even like, because even people who didn't even like watch or like the shows that much, they would watch the crossovers, especially when people
Oh
told
yeah.
them, no, don't worry about it. If you haven't watched the season, they'll recap what you need to know in that story. And they're like, really? And then they will watch the crossovers and then be like, okay, I was confused.
Mhm.
Or even like, I remember even like some reactors who were like, oh no, I'm a Flash fan. I'm a Supergirl fan. I never saw Arrow. But I would see him in these crossovers. And even like when, like certain things, certain major deaths happen in like Crisis on Earth X or Crisis on Infinite Earths, they were kind of like, I can't believe they fucking did that. Holy shit, that whole show's gonna be affected by this death. They did it for this. Wow, like even
Yeah.
and that's what made them get
Oh yeah.
interested in watching some of the other shows, being like, I want to see
How
what
is
they
this going to
do.
affect it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, it
Like,
it was great promotion, but also great story development too.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Definitely. But like just on the promotion level, like being able to advertise on episode 8 of these seasons, there's gonna be a crossover event, and putting out posters with all the different characters together and all this stuff like that was such that really made these things in the universe feel like events, and I want to be able to feel that with something on Disney Plus.
I know what you mean. Because with Disney Plus, I have mixed positive feelings depending on sub stuff. Disney Plus has some good shows. Disney Plus has some cool original uh, movies and stuff. But one of the biggest issues for the past few years is they don't feel like events. A lot of the
Mhm.
Disney Plus shows and
The
movies,
thing is, I
even some of the Star Wars stuff. Like there are some great Star Wars shows on Disney Plus, but the marketing and even the
Mhm.
ways fans talk about it, they're kind of like it's cool, it's good, but you don't need to watch it right away. And I think that's been the issue where like there's been a
Yeah,
lack of
yeah.
wanting to watch it live or wanting to watch
And
it.
I don't think everything needs to feel like an event,
But the
but
marketing,
I like the idea of there being one episode a season that
yeah,
feels like an event.
yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. There are some shows that do need to do that, and I think that's one of the special things about
You
crossovers,
know,
regardless of genre.
I feel like sadly, like I feel like it's so not often anymore that we get actual crossover episodes between stuff because of it of things being on streaming. And because of the fact that it's so many like these streaming services are not willing to have different things airing at the same time. And that really sucks because crossover or episodes are so much fun to see.
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think we'll get more of that in the future. I don't know when or where,
Mm-hmm.
but hopefully they
Yeah.
kind of realize that. And uh, I do hope if they do take certain things from the Incredible Hulk cartoon,
Mm-hmm.
outside of some of the villains, I do hope they do bring in like Jen and Bruce back for certain things. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
And you know,
Now, if we were to get a sequel all to this,
mhm.
is do you think that who do you think they would actually bring back from the voice cast? I doubt that they bring back Lou Ferrigno. I feel like they'd more likely get Fred Tatasciore or to
Yeah,
voice
yeah, yeah,
Hulk,
yeah,
just because that's been their go-to guy for Hulk in animation for the past 20 years,
yeah.
which is it's honestly really cool how long that Fred Tatasciore has been voicing Hulk. But then like for Bruce Banner though, I feel like they could easily get Neil McDonough
Oh no,
to do it.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I completely agree, especially with the fact that like Neil McDonough is kind of a geek icon. People love working with him. I think if they did approach him to voice Bruce again, I think depending on pay and on time, he'd
Mhm.
probably say yes. I think he'll be an easy get for that. Clancy Brown, who voiced Sasquatch
Yeah.
in this episode,
Oh
again, he's a
yeah.
voice acting icon, and he loves doing stuff.
Mhm.
If they came to him with the right pitch, and he's done Disney Plus stuff too, he would gladly voice him again
Uh,
in something
and like with villains, and it's like I'd love for them to bring back Matt Farrar
as the
as the
leader. Yeah,
leader.
yeah,
Or Matt Farrar is such an underrated actor. Like this is not even the only Marvel thing that he's done. He's been in. And there like it was not watched by many people, but like he was the villain for that live action Generation
yeah.
X TV movie pilot failed pilot thing, and he's so much fun as the villain of that. I really want to see Marvel bring him back for Psy.
Well, I could definitely see that. Even like like again, I with the fact that even like Bastion was speaking with Doom and Zemo and some others in that one episode, X-97. I wouldn't be shocked if the leader is off there somewhere talking to Doom or Zemo. Like that'd be cool to see him pop back up as just like
Oh yeah,
first see him in the background of the X-Men show, and then he comes in into something else. I see that happening. Um, Luke Perry passed away. So he can't voice Rick Jones again, obviously. But I do think there's some great actors they know that could
mm-hmm.
play that role in a similar way without disrespecting Luke Perry. And
Yeah.
it'd be really nice and sweet to see.
I wouldn't mind if they were to have the actor who voiced him in Hawk and Agent Smash
Yeah,
as do it.
that'd be a great way to tie it in together and not feel like they're rushing or anything bad. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, and there
And
was the
they already recast as General Ross with us because he had an appearance in X-Men '97
yeah.
and I feel like I bet Mark Hamill would be happy to come back as Gargoyle.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So like, I do
Yeah,
think there's a way.
and Cree Summer would definitely be down to come back as She Hulk. I mean she appeared in the Ironheart show. So she's definitely very willing to work with Marvel still.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff they could definitely do, and I do think uh, if it's not Spider-Man, next after X-Men '97, it has to be Hulk or Fantastic Four.
Oh
Or
yeah,
hell, just make
yeah.
a '90s Avengers show with in that universe. I think people will
Mhm.
be down for
And
that,
like
especially post '97.
I would love also to see Doc Samson
Yeah.
in
Oh yeah.
return.
It
Iron like
it would be it would be. I do think it would be funny if they actually got Ty Burrell to voice him in the
that would be
new Hulk cartoon.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. Is oh, I want to see him return in live action, just and mainly just because I've seen fan art of Ty Burrell sporting the comic look for the character, and it looks like so much fun. And
Yeah.
I feel like Ty Burrell would have such a great time donning the green hair, red T-shirt, and jeans. Like he would find it to be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, but like, these two episodes, the Ghost Rider episode and Sasquatch episode, I like the fact they highlight a guest character
Yeah.
from a side of the comics, but it's not overwhelming per se.
Mhm.
Like it's a strong, it's a fun and underrated skill to do. Of like, here's a guest character, he fits with the story. Let's make sure he doesn't overshadow the main event, which is Hulk, and have it go forward. And I think both episodes are really when the show picks up. I think this is the moment in season one where it actually kind of feels like they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Now, in the Sasquatch episode, I'm that this is not something that they confirmed in the episode, but I'm kind of wondering if this is gonna be the case I guess moving forward, because I'm pretty sure at some point in the show this ends up happening. So we hear that Sasquatch is now permanently Sasquatch from that experiment. Is this maybe the point where Hulk becomes permanently Hulk? Because I don't think we saw him turn back into Bruce at the end of the episode.
They start doing episodes. I remember this is when around the time they start doing a lot of episodes where he is Hulk a lot, and then they have to find a way to turn to get Bruce to come back. I don't know if it's necessary this episode, but the reason why I know that is because there are some episodes, as you see later on, we'll get to She-Hulk. She's trying to get him to change back, and he just can't. And she's like, Bruce, I need to talk to you, big dummy. And then he's just Hulk.
Mhm.
And she's like,
And
what? And at first she thinks it's on purpose, and then she realizes it's not. And it's like, oh no. And then of course there's like other
uh,
stuff that happens.
or maybe at the very least, like I pretty sure like Hulk gets to like grow into having like a full on personality of and being able to talk in complete sentences as the show goes on. I wonder if maybe this experiment pushed a lot towards that.
They do address that because more of the leader is going to come up. I like the fact that he's
Mm,
mostly in the background, the Ghost Rider episode,
yeah.
but there's some stuff with the leader and Gorgor when they interact with Hulk some more and some other versions of the Hulk, and they're shocked by his evolution, so to speak. They're kind of like, oh, he's still
Mm,
changing. He's not the same.
oh yeah.
He's not the same Hulk. He's like, oh,
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that one thing that's it's a small thing from the Ghost Rider episode, but that I really like is how we see him and repeatedly changing back and forth as he's looking at this photo. At least he thinks it's a Betty. I don't think it actually is a Betty,
oh
but
no, it's not Betty, but his imagination is
yeah.
projecting. I think I like that too
Mm,
because it shows that Bruce and Hulk both love
yeah. It was
Betty a lot, and they're both missing her. And
oh
that's
yeah.
why Hulk is trying so hard to stay because he doesn't want to miss seeing her again or miss imagining her. While
Mm,
Bruce is trying to, I think he sees the real photo of the actual woman that's not Betty, and he's like, "Wait, this ain't Betty." And he's just, and it's like he's
mhm.
going out.
Yeah, yeah. Like Hulk isn't realizing, but then Bruce realizes that makes it make Bruce angry. Hey, that I'm guessing that's what's going making the back part happen. But yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun to see. A oh, and, you know. it was. I think it's really interesting how this show. And I noticed in this episode of the Ghost Rider episode, and the and also like I remember in the pilot episodes. It's just also happened. You'll have moments where he hasn't fully changed back into Bruce, and so he looks like Bruce, but he's green, and I
Yeah.
think that's really interesting.
No, I like that too. I always felt that was kind of a reference to the 78 show in a way, in a little bit of way. But also, even like a lot of like a lot of like comic book or even like cartoon parodies of the Hulk, they just draw Bruce as green in between the transformations. So I always like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, outside of this show, but kind of related. Because it's also Ghost Rider and Hulk. I remember when I was younger. I I don't remember what issue it was, but
Mhm.
but I remember reading there was this cool one-off issue where Ghost Rider needed help with something going on in hell, so he had a bunch of other heroes, including Hulk, um, come with him to hell to deal with it. I was like, that's such an interesting plot. And I know that something like that will probably never happen in live action, but I think it would be really cool if we saw something like that at some
I
point.
think I completely agree that would be something kind of cool to see. I'm trying to remember if it's the same book, but I remember it was around a similar time. So Bruce Banner's father, Brian Banner, obviously he dies when Bruce is a teenager, after he kills Bruce's mother and a bunch of bad stuff happen. There's one book in the 2000s where Brian Banner appears as like a demon in hell and he looks like a Hulk called like the Devil Hulk or something. And then Bruce is in hell, he has to fight him. And then in more recent Hulk books, Brian Banner is a ghost that can possess other people with gamma powers. That's how they found a way to keep bringing him back, but they never resurrect him. He's still a guy in hell projecting his evil
That's
from literal
interesting.
hell into to affect the plot. And
That's
because
fun.
even in some of the recent horror themed Hulk books, they created this idea called the Green Door, and the Green Door is a magical dimension that only gamma irradiated people like Hulk, She Hulk, Sasquatch, and other people, Abomination and Samson and Doc Samson can interact with. And Brian Banner is like a ghost man from hell that can interact with the Green Door and take over people. And
Interesting.
I thought it was interesting because they made Brian Banner a supernatural threat because they don't want to undo his death. He is still dead in the Marvel
Yeah.
universe. So it would be kind of funny if you did like a Ghost Rider movie where Brian Banner is the main villain, and that's an excuse to bring Hulk in to
That'd be
fight
fun.
him. Yeah,
That would be really fun. Sign that I've said for a while, and I wish we had more like movies and TV shows where they actually like made hell the setting, because like I think it's such a fun concept
Mhm.
having this like fiery brimstone looking area be where the like majority of science set. And it surprises me that it's there's not been very many things that have actually had something like that.
Yeah, I get what you mean. This is the weird thing. It happens a lot in TV shows, but not in film, and it most has to do with budget, or I guess maybe because like there's some countries that due to a certain religious practices, they don't
Mhm.
they ban films that depict the afterlife or depict the afterlife in a certain way that might disrespect their faith, which I understand is their country. So I think some people in Hollywood they get a little worried about being banned from certain places, so they don't want to talk about certain afterlives. But it's kind of open ended because there's if you notice there are some movies and shows where they just go to heaven or go to hell or go to
Yeah.
purgatory or go to somewhere that's
Yeah.
clearly the afterlife for like a few minutes or something.
Yeah, we watched some months ago. Oh, I watched together or Drive Angry,
Yeah,
the Nicolas Cage film. And like at the end of that, we see him driving into hell, I would love a sequel to that where the entire film is set in hell and
Mhm.
him fighting demons in hell. Like it just saddens me. It's so hard to get something like that because I really think that's such a fun and unique setting for Sign.
Yeah. I don't know. I get you, man. I even had one idea for a movie. It will never happen because of where the MCU is going, and also where
Hmm.
they're going to show Doctor Doom after they recast Robert out the role. We're gonna get new Doom in the new MCU after Secret Wars, right? But that's one idea for a Ghost Rider trilogy. Um, so I wanted to do like, okay, so the first movie is gonna be about Johnny Blaze and his half brother Danny Ketch, both Ghost Riders, deal with a threat, and Johnny's girlfriend from the comics and from the 2007 movie played by Eva Mendes, Roxanne, at one point in the comics, she gets possessed and she becomes this like demonic red looking woman. And
Oh.
she's called like Thorn, something Thorn. She gets possessed. So in the first Ghost Rider movie, it's all about him. It's about Johnny and Danny's going to save Roxanne from a terrible thing. And that's the first movie. Then with the second movie, they have to deal with like another bad guy. I want to use either like Blackout or something. But basically, a lot of things go wrong, and at the end, the cliffhanger of Ghost Rider 2 in the MCU trilogy is Danny is dragged down into hell. Johnny's forced to watch it. He can't even grab him in time, right? Then the start of the third Ghost Rider movie is going to be Doctor Doom shows up and is like, I'm trying to rescue my mother's soul from hell, which is a thing he does in the comics. My mother was a Romani witch. She was burned at the stake. Her soul belongs to Mephisto.
Oh.
Mephisto has your brother, Daddy Ketch. We're going to go into hell. You and me together. We're going to find a way to take my mother and Danny out. And they go into hell. Mephisto sees this and he goes, oh, they think they can save them. Okay, okay. And he summons different dead bad guys from the MCU, which includes Ultra Killian from Iron Man 3, Claw from Black Panther. He even takes Wenwu from a Chinese version of the Afterlife. He brings him in for a fight scene, and he Mephisto makes a stupid idea of like, oh yeah, let me just take Hela from the Norse religion. But then she betrays him, and then eventually it becomes this whole thing where a lot of chaos happens. And Johnny and Doom's mission to save Doom's mother, and of course, Danny Ketch is endangered by all these cameos of dead villains in the MCU. It was really an excuse to bring
That'd be
back
really
a
cool.
lot of actors. It would have been kind of
Oh
expensive
yeah.
and crazy, and especially like Doom does tell him, we have 24 hours to leave hell. Only 24 hours. If we're stuck in hell for more than 24 hours, you and I, we will actually die and get stuck here. So, and so like,
That'd be a really cool film.
yeah,
Trilogy.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was my idea. I wanted a Ghost Rider 3 to like kind of like mirror Spider-Man No Way Home, but instead of it bringing back uh things from, I wanted to just make it a thing where we brought back
Mhm.
dead villains from throughout the MCU's history, but they're still dead. We don't resurrect them, but they're here for like fight scenes. And even Mephisto tells them, "Oh yeah, stop Johnny Blaze and Victor Von Doom. I will let you leave hell. I will resurrect you, and I will resurrect you, Claw and whatever. I'm willing to bring you back if it means stopping that."
Uh, I yeah. With the idea of Ghost Rider and Hulk teaming up and like going into hell, like can you imagine how cool that visual would be? Seeing this giant green Hulk,
Mhm.
amidst the fiery brimstone, very red feeling world of hell. Like I think that would be really cool looking visually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it's one of the reasons why like there's some rumors that in Doomsday Secret Wars there's gonna be some afterlife stuff. And I'm like, this is gonna be kind of cool. It is gonna be interesting to see how people react. Like, for example, in the Avengers Doomsday teaser, we see Thor praying to Odin,
Mhm.
and it's like, Father, I need your help, like whatever, whatever. And a lot of the rumors and plot leaks so far, some of them is probably just fake, right? But like, some of them, they keep saying as guardians from the Norse afterlife of Valhalla, which includes Heimdall and Jane Foster, all these dead people are going to show up to help fight in the third act of Doomsday. And I'm like, this is cool.
I
This
heard
is very,
that. I heard that actually for Secret Wars instead of Doomsday. But
no, yeah, that's the thing.
interesting.
I'm like, no, that's the thing. I'm like, it makes more sense for Secret Wars because there's also the Thor core,
Yeah.
the multiversal core of Thors from different universes. But I'm like, Doomsday. I'm like, that could be interesting. But even then, I'm also kind of like, because that post credit scene from Love and Thunder with Jane and Heimdall. I always liked that post credit scene, but I was also kind of like, okay, you're teasing they're going to come back. You better deliver on them coming through Valhalla. I don't know when or where, but
Mm-hmm.
if Thor's prayer is answered that way, that would be both insane
Mm-hmm.
and cool and new for the
Mm-hmm.
MCU. The idea of like I can literally summon ghosts
Yeah.
to help.
With Thor: Love and Thunder, we also had that other post credit scene where
Yeah.
like teasing the gods coming to
Mhm.
Earth to wreak havoc. To be honest, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we never end up having a follow up on that. But I feel like something like that, instead of like being like a potential Thor 5, I honestly feel like that would have been a really good Avengers film.
You know, it's
Having
funny.
the
This
entire Avengers team versus the gods.
No, I do think Hercules will be, especially that actor will probably be in Secret Wars. I wouldn't be shocked. This is thing that came out saying, "Oh yeah, Doomsday will start with a montage of the MCU heroes doing the things, so we can see where they are." I'm like, well, Thor's so off planet with Love. I'm like, it would be funny if Thor and Love we just see him fighting Hercules for a bit and then they just leave, and then we cut to the plot of Doomsday. Sorry, and Hercules like, God damn it, I gotta fight him again.
Oh man,
Because even I,
that'd be fine.
Because even some plot ideas I have for my own version of Avengers 5, I'm like, no, you should probably have Hercules appear. They fight, and then Thor bashes him to
Oh
the side
yeah.
and goes away. It's like, again,
Yeah.
love. These people just won't leave us alone. All these Greek people just showing up out of nowhere.
Well, is there any final things you'd like to say about these two Hawk episodes?
I think these are both really fun episodes, and they also kind of work in a way as a double feature,
Hmm.
especially because we see Hulk leave uh, Rick and Betty at the end of the Ghost Rider episode, and then with the Sasquatch episode, they do show that Hulk is capable of making new relationships with new people, which I really did like. I like that a lot.
Hmm. Oh yeah. I think one last thing I'd like to say is I really like how the people of Canada are just like fuck you to the Shield.
Yeah,
We're going to protect Hulk. You're not gonna hurt our friend. And I thought that was really cool. I think the one thing I think from that episode that I did not like, and I
mm-hmm.
wish that I wish even though I know they couldn't do this because it was a kids show, but I wish Hulk could have had a more of a of an anger and like fighting fight I because of this uh is one of those people from Canada kicking the dog.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, when that happened, my thought process was I thought process was Hulk should absolutely destroy you now.
Yeah,
You just kicked the dog. You deserve all the pain in the world.
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's really everything to say about these two Hawk episodes. So, thank you very much for listening. If you like this game analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these episodes, so please let me know. If you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. Many more game analysis coming from me, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash Trivia John, signing off.